In today's Clash of Clans video, we're going to take a look at the Week 7 King Jeffrey CWL Elite 15 War. Let's get straight into it. How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another Clash of Clans video. Today, we're looking at yet another perfect war by King Jeffrey in CWL Elite 15. Now, this was our Week 7 war. And yeah, needless to say, we came through and got it done. We swagged 8 hits and still managed to get the perfect war. A huge shout out to the King Jeffrey planning and attacking team. They really did fantastic this war. We had a bunch of triples all around the board. But let's go ahead and not waste any time here and get straight into a few replays here. We've got 8 of them to show you. I've made a promise to all the King Jeffrey guys. Listen, if we hit perfect wars, I'm going to put in a replays every single recap. No doubt about it. So let's jump straight into this one here by Mendicus. It's a bit of a Zap Yeti attack strategy. Haven't seen this one in quite some time, but we're seeing it get used here against their number 9 here. So starting with a couple of sneaky goblins over at this left side rather, to clear out a few of those buildings. Now we're going to see this warden come in over at the right side by about 11 o'clock or so. Now this warden's main job is really to just kind of funnel that 12 o'clock side and allow the Yetis to then push through towards that multi-target inferno. Going to go ahead and zap out one of those scatter shots there, basically just getting it out of the way. And again, this doesn't only get rid of that scatter shot, it also creates a very nice funnel for the rest of the troops to dive in towards this about 10 o'clock side here. So King's going to move in from this left side. Warden is still doing very nice work over here, not wasting any time with that Warden. Notice, didn't zap first, decided to drop the Warden before the zap spells. And by doing that, you save yourself about 5 seconds or so. Now, the Warden ability gets accidentally popped here, which isn't super ideal, but you'll see this one actually ends up working out for him anyways, despite that early Warden. So all the Yetis moving straight in here. King doing a very nice job funneling that left side, and that's going to allow for all the troops to stay in the core. Has that double jump spell down for the Yetis to dive through towards that town hall. Queen's also going to step up and help him out, and he's realistically only got about 5 or so Yetis left, maybe about 6, and that clan castle is going to come out. It's going to be that dragon and those minions. Poison spell gets used a bit prematurely there to try and take down those headhunters that came out of the clan castle. Sure enough, the dragon and the super minion will go down there. Now we've got the world champion and a bunch of hog riders coming in from this left side here, and their main goal is to try and just take down those Teslas and take down all of those defenses down by the 6 o'clock side, and then eventually loop back in with the main squad of Yetis. So everything diving through here, it's looking pretty solid. So far, World Champion is going to get burned out by that single target Inferno. Going to pop the Queen's ability to force her through this back end single. Hog Riders will take down the single on the bottom side. No, they don't. Actually, that's going to be the job for the Queen. So this one does get a little bit close here, but sure enough, even with that swag warden ability, still going to get this one done. That P.E.K.K.A doing some nice tanking for this Queen. She's going to get through that elixir storage and then get through that Inferno tower. Thankfully, it was already damaged there. Just barely charged up there, and did not take down the Queen. And he's got a bit of cleanup left here, so the Queen's just kind of going to beat through a couple of walls, take them down, and then wrap this one up for a triple. So definitely very close, but I did want to show this one because even without the Warden ability, still able to come through and get that triple. Could it be possibly a bit lucky? Could it be a bit of skill? You never know. But let's jump straight into our second hit here. We have Doom coming through with a bit of a Queen Charge hybrid here on their number 6 player here. So we've seen a lot of Queen Charge hybrid in the meta. It's still in the meta even with the changes to the lightning spell. We've seen also some Zap hybrid in the meta, you know, with the introduction of that new lightning spell. But Pinna's going to start here with the Queen coming in at about this 8 o'clock side. She's going to be diving through to take down this town hall eventually as she loops down to the right side here. So we're going to see a Yeti blimp come in after the Queen walk is started, and that's going to save him a lot of time going into the back end of the raid. He is going to get that single target Inferno down, but he's going to burn a rage here because he wants to get that entire compartment cleared. Realistically, if you're just trying to get the single target Inferno out of the way to save a hero, save a Queen walk or whatever, you don't want to invest a rage spell. But in this case, that was a good call. We've got that double poison spell to help deal with those headhunters and the super minions coming out of the clan castle. We've got a Yeti coming down by this 6 o'clock side to take down that gold storage. A couple of buildings going down due to those wizards, and the super wall breaker will allow the Queen access in towards that scatter shot. Now we have a second super wall breaker which is going to come in shortly here to break open that wall where that air defense is, which allows the Queen access to the town hall. Realistically, if you can get some really good value with your Queen, that being the town hall, maybe getting the eagle, both scatter shots, etc., you're typically going to be in a pretty good spot here. going into the rest of the raid. So the queen actually does end up going a bit, a bit on the wrong path there. So does end up having to burn her ability and burn a freeze there, but she will get through that town hall with help from the rage spell and the healers. And now the hybrid's all going to dive straight in here from this right side by about 4 o'clock. Now he's going to early ward an ability here to make sure that everything stays alive going through that Eagle Blast there. Diving through here, heal spells going down. Queen's going to beat through the right wall here, and she's eventually going to actually dive out to the outside and stay along that left side of the base and pretty much be protected from the defenses on the right. We've got the king all the way at the top side. He started over by 3 o'clock, but has managed to somehow make his way through and get to 12 and kind of peel in there for that multi-target Inferno. Everything's diving through really nicely here. World Champion will eventually burn her ability to help get through that multi-target Inferno. Minion on the back end to clean up. And again, look at that queen. She's just kind of chilling, not really having to deal with any damage at the moment. The healers actually transition to the miners, which is some huge value for Doom here going into the back end of this raid. If you can get a healer transition, especially when your queen isn't taking damage, it's definitely a pretty solid going into the back end of the base. Can secure you the triple more often. Queen going to take down the last few buildings here, and that's going to wrap this one up for the triple. So very solid attack, very nice plan. And again, that queen staying alive throughout the entire raid there definitely helped him out going into the back end of the base. All right, let's jump over to our third attack here. We've got a bit of a Zap Lalo from Vampire, one of the new King Jeffrey members. He's been smashing it in the King Jeffrey League Wars, so I definitely want to show this one off. This was some OP Zap Lalo value here. So I'm going to start by taking down the Clan Castle. Has those 7 lightning spells, but watch as Vampire drops them on the base here. He's going to drop them a bit interesting. Going to drop 5 in between the Inferno Bomb Tower and Clan Castle, and then the other 2 in between the air defense and the sweeper. Going to take down the sweeper, drop that earthquake, and then get the air defense, Clan Castle, and Inferno Tower with the zap spells. And now we're going to see a Sui RC coming from this right side here. Her main goal is to try and step up and take down that multi-target Inferno. Typically, Zap Lalo can kind of get, it can get stopped pretty quickly if there are a bunch of multis on the base. And sure enough, there are 2 multis. I think it was 3 multis, if I'm not mistaken, that could have possibly been a single, but regardless, having those 2 multis up is definitely going to do a lot of damage to your Lalo later on in the raid. RC is going to step up. She's going to take down the multi, not really having to deal with any worries there. She'll even grab that Wizard Tower, and that's going to allow that Baby Dragon a lot of space to clear through those buildings over there. Now we're going to see the King, or sorry, we're going to see another Baby Dragon coming from this right side, and then the King is going to come in from the about 4:30 to 5 o'clock side. Here comes an Ice Golem with that Queen, and you can see exactly what they're aiming for. They're aiming to take down that Town Hall, as well as loop towards the inside to possibly get a bit more value for the Lalo that'll eventually dive in here. So notice on the left side of the base here too, hasn't worried about the Eagle, hasn't worried about the scatter shot at all. He has a plan for that. But now, because he's able to Sui his heroes into the Town Hall, he has that Stone Slammer that he can use with his Lalo here. Now, he's going to be starting this Lalo, I believe, from this right side here, going to drop that Slammer in, and notice where that air defense is placed. The air defense is not going to lock onto that Slammer until it gets to that Wizard Tower, so he had a little bit of time before the Stone Slammer got there. And look at the heroes over at the right side of the base. Hasn't even burned the Queen ability yet, and she's going to be able to get through the enemy Queen and the enemy RC with ease. And notice how this Lalo is moving through straight into both of those scatter shots. Not going to be dealing with them for too long here. He's actually going to Warden Tome through both of them, which is huge. Queen's going to grab the enemy World Champion and the enemy Queen, and now look at how many loons he's still got left on the board. Has 2 free spells left, and this is absolutely crushed. That Sui got so much value going into the base. His Queen stepped up, grabbed both of the enemy heroes, the Town Hall, and the Sui RC got that Inferno Tower. So he pretty much had 2 multi-target Inferno Towers, the Town Hall, enemy RC, and enemy Queen down before the Lalo went in, which is huge. Look at how many loons are left alive. There's tons of them left on the map, so definitely a very solid attack on their number 14 player. Now let's jump into a bit of an interesting one as well, not one I've seen in quite some time here. It's a bit of a good old-fashioned Yeti Quake by Zoro here, bringing in the 4 Earthquake spells to open up the base to allow the Yetis to dive through. Now, I'm actually interested to see where he drops these Quakes. I haven't watched this one yet, so it's a bit of a fresh reaction from me as well. So we've got this Warden coming in from this left side here. Going to start a Warden walk, clear out that left side of the base, dropping in those healers to make sure that that Warden stays alive. Was kind of patient at the beginning there, making sure that he was trying to lure out any of those traps that could possibly take down a healer. Not going to have to burn a rage spell at this point because the Warden with that range is able to kind of stay back away from these defenses and stay alive. So we're going to see that Quake spell go down in the core of the base, and just like that, this entire base is open. Now, with the exception of a few of the compartments on the outside of the base, pretty much the entire base is opened up for the Yetis to eventually dive through. So now we're going to see a jump spell come in over this archer tower. Very interesting stuff. We've got the 3 witches and the king coming from this left side, and then all the Yetis going to come in where those healers are. And you can kind of see the path that they're going to take eventually with that jump spell here. Going to pop that king ability early to get him moving through that single target inferno, as well as clear through the left side to funnel the Yetis in. No, actually doesn't burn the interesting stuff. Doesn't burn the king ability early. And notice that rage spell. Now, a lot of people may say that he misplaced that rage spell. He actually didn't. That rage spell was strategically placed there because he wanted those healers to heal that Warden as soon as possible, so that way they move forward towards the Yetis. If your healers don't transition to your Yetis, it's really going to mess you up later on in the raid because your Yetis are going to die out super quick. We've got a bit of a Yeti blimp going in for this town hall. Going to take that down. Absolutely no worries there. And now the bowlers and the Yetis are going to move through the core of the base. And we've still got the king and those witches down at this bottom side doing some very nice work over there at 6 o'clock. The eagle will eventually go down, and we're probably going to see this world champion come in at some point. There we go. The world champion coming in from this 12 o'clock side here. Now, she is going to encounter that Grand Warden pad, but with her ability, she'll be able to get through that with relatively no issues here. She's going to pop her ability. That's going to take that down. And now we've got those 3 witches on the outside here. I believe, are there 3 left? I think there's 3 witches left. There are still those 3 witches left alive. We've got the queen with her ability and those healers going into the single target inferno. Now this world champion will go down before getting the scatter shot. Oh no, she gets the scatter shot. The Yeti mites must have stepped forward and got some damage in on it. And look at those witches over on the right side. Again, only 3 witches just to kind of clear out that side and force those Yetis into the core of the base. And sure enough, they've stayed alive the entire raid, and they've done some fantastic stuff, kind of clearing through those trash buildings, as well as eventually joining through and helping this queen out at the back end. So this one will triple and get this base out of the way. Queen's going to beat a wall. Not really the end of the world. Has plenty of time left. And that's going to wrap up a 3-star for Zoro. So definitely some fantastic stuff by him. And now our next attack, definitely one of the new meta attack strategies here. We're going to go ahead and 2 times this one and speed this one through. But we've got Raj coming in with a bit of a flybrid. I think it's how you say it. The flybrid attack strategy on their number 5. So he's been enjoying this attack strategy a whole bunch, and he's been honestly crushing it in wars with it. So we've got that earthquake spell and that lightning spell to take down an inferno tower with the world champion. Ideally, what you want to do is you want to drop that lightning spell with that earthquake over an inferno tower, and then the moment you pop the world champion's seeking shield ability, if it hits the inferno, it will take it down. So now we're going to see that earthquake spell go down on that inferno tower. We're going to see the world champion come in. The zap spell hasn't been placed just yet. He's going to zap it now. World champion does get locked onto by that inferno tower, but actually doesn't have her ability to take down the town hall. It ends up looping around the left side and taking down a few defenses. So already this has not gone to plan, but still Raj is able to come through and clear this one out. We've got a singular skeleton barrel going to come in from this right side to clear through those buildings. Knows that there's not really a whole lot of defenses to take them down. So he's just going to throw the skeleton barrel up there to take down those few defenses. I believe there are 5 housing space, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely some good value from that 5 housing space. We've got a singular super minion over at this right side here, taking down those trash buildings. And then the main army is going in just as planned here. Now that Inferno Tower at the top side of the base, definitely going to be a bit annoying later on. But he's opted in to just completely ignore it and hope that his dragons eventually will reroute and take it down. We're going to see that early Grand Warden ability to protect that blimp going towards that town hall. It is going to get caught in the tornado trap, which is a bit unfortunate here, but the blimp will eventually make it towards the back end of the base. Now, we've got 1 rage spell left, and that rage spell is going to be used on that blimp for the town hall. He wants that town hall down as soon as possible, so that way he can send in his bats from this right side here. Going to drop a freeze on that wizard tower. They're going to take that down, and they'll eventually grab the single as well. And now, the big key with this attack strategy is getting those bats down at the right time. It's the same thing with Dragbat. If you wait till all of your dragons are dead on the base, those bats are not going to do a whole lot. You want them to work together, but still be separated because of the potential air bombs that could take down these bats. Thankfully, Raj is able to move through with his bats here, and they're not going to encounter any air bombs. And this one's going to be overwhelmingly crushed here. Definitely, I mean, I wouldn't say overwhelmingly crushed, but definitely still able to get the 3-star. 3 dragons left and a bunch of super minions remaining with that warden and a ton of bats. So very nice hit there. Now we're going to jump over to an attack by Vicious on their number 1, bringing in some Queen Charge Hybrid. Gotta love it here. This was a pretty superb Queen Charge, so that's why I wanted to highlight this one here. Going to start with that Coco Loon, grabbing that Black Mine out of the way. This was not a fresh hit, but he knew, hey, there's a Black Mine there. I want to get rid of it so that way it doesn't bother my Queen Charge later on in the raid. We're going to see that Yeti come down from this left side here, clear out those buildings. Those Yetis for the funnel definitely proving to be very useful, as those Yeti mites can kind of step forward and take down those defenses alongside the Yeti can kind of step forward with his damage and get this one done. So he's going to fail the first wall break here, and is going to have to throw in the second wall break because of the Warden pad. Is going to finally get that wall break and break open the Queen into the Town Hall here. And now it's just a matter of her taking that wall break and moving in towards the Town Hall. Going to drop that poison spell a bit early there, trying to take down the pups behind the Queen so that way the healers don't get targeted there. So she'll deal with those pups. Realistically, the Lava Hound in the Clan Castle really is just meant to delay the Queen. It's not really meant to try and do a ton of damage to her. At least if the attacker doesn't bring a poison, then yeah, the damage will add up. But 9 out of 10 times an attacker is going to bring a poison and going to be able to deal with the Hound, no problem. So this Queen will eventually step in towards this Town Hall after taking down the Mortar and that Grand Warden pad, and then she's going to kind of dive through and take down the enemy Queen as well. Now the Hybrid is going to come in from this right side here, and what the Queen does on this raid is definitely super key. I want you to pay attention to that as we go through. So the Queen will step up, take down the enemy Queen. He's actually going to freeze her to make sure that he doesn't have to burn that ability early, wants to save it for when he encounters the single target from Inferno. Now the miners are going to come in with those Hog Riders, all coming in straight line, not really too stressed about getting those down in a bit of a spammy motion here. He's actually going to end up raging the Queen again, getting her moving. He has no more free spells left, so he's going to have to burn the Queen ability through this Inferno Tower. But now we've got that Hybrid moving through 2 scatter shots at the back end of this base, which is definitely going to be an issue for the Hybrid. But notice how he's got this attack set up here. He's got his Queen over on the left side. He's got the Hybrid over on the right. Now this Queen is going to be responsible for dealing with that left side scatter shot, and the Hybrid is responsible for the right side one. He's going to rage the Queen again to keep her moving through and keep her momentum about the same as the Hybrid here. Queen will dive into that back end Inferno Tower, but she's still going to get that value by taking down the Royal Champion here. Sorry, not taking down the Royal Champion, just barely not taking down the Royal Champion, but eventually the miners will step up and take her down. And notice what the Hybrid has done while the Queen has stepped forward and gotten that key splash damage building out of the way, as well as set the funnel for the miners and hogs to dive through. Royal Champion still has her ability, tons of hogs and miners alive, and look at those healers. They're straight on the Hybrid, helping keep those miners and hog riders at full health. And sure enough, this one is going to triple. Definitely a fantastic plan and a Queen Charge that went through and got the value that he needed there. Set the funnel for the Hybrid alongside taking down that scatter shot. Now we're going to jump into our final attack of this video. We've got Sakura coming in with a bit of a Zap Giants attack strategy. We got those Super Giants with the Zap spells paired up with those Witches going in on their number 2 here. So we're going to start with a little loon there to take down that mortar, just get it out of the way. 2 more loons at the top side to take down the other mortar, just getting rid of the splash where she can, because realistically it's pretty much free builds. You can take down those mortars that do tons of damage to those skeletons just with a couple of loons. So it's definitely some high value there from those few troop space. Gonna zap both of those scatter shots out of the way, and I just want to pause really quickly just to kind of give you guys an idea of what is left in terms of the splash damage here. These wizard towers, that's the splash, the bomb towers, and the town hall. Everything else is a single target defense, which means that these witches are going to have no problem diving through the rest of the space. Now, the reason she's opted in for these super giants here rather than the golems, which is definitely super popular, is because of those single target inferno towers. As the golems move in, they're really just going to get burned up by those singles super quickly. So those super giants are still going to be able to provide that tanking while alongside having multiple of them, so they don't just get completely burned out by the singles early on. I've seen a lot of attackers use ice golems, but personally I'm not a huge fan of it just because they die out so quickly. Granted, they get that freeze value in, but honestly, if you can have those super giants last a little bit longer going into the core of the base, it's definitely more ideal. So now, as you can see here, the super giants realistically have pretty much died out here. I can't really see any of them on the screen, but as they've tanked for these witches, now those witches are able to dive through in the core of the base without taking any damage. And now they're just going to kind of run through the rest of this base here. World Champion coming in from this left side to help support. And you know, honestly, all of these skeletons are just overpowering these single target defenses. They can't deal with the mass amount of troops that are on the board. I mean, look at how many skeletons are alive. Sure, that double giant bomb will take down those skeletons to get them out of the way, but as soon as those skeletons die, all of those witches are able to spawn them in back again, and now we've got tons more skeletons on the board. That bomb tower doing a ton of work here to those witches and skeletons really was the saving grace for this attack if it was to defend, or this defense if it was to defend. But thankfully, the witches are able to just completely overpower the single target defenses left alive and wrap up the triple for Sakura, as well as wrap up the recap for this war. This is the second perfect war for this season for King Jeffrey. Not only that, it is a back-to-back perfect from the last week's war. Not to mention, we were able to swag 8 attacks in this war. 22 attacks. We went 15 for 22. That's a 68% hit rate, one of the highest hit rates we've had all season. So definitely a huge shout out to the King Jeffrey guys. Huge shout out to the planning and the execution by all of the attackers. Just want to kind of outline, or you know, just show everyone here that got a triple. We had a bunch of people 6-pack. We had Mendicus come in with the 6-pack. We had Doom come in with the 6-pack. We had let's see, we had Monty come in with the 6-pack. We had Raj come in with or no, sorry, Raj didn't get the 6-pack, but he had that Flybird attack strategy there. So definitely some really solid attacks from all the sides. We had Seepin swag and attack. We had Lemon. We had Hazakura swag and attack. We had Unicorn swag and attack, and we had Vicious swag and attack with that perfect war. So again, huge shout out to the King Jeffrey guys. Fantastic stuff this week, and let's keep it going into week 8. That is gonna do it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. See ya.